You keep explaining yourself because you want your husband to understand you. But what if the more you explain, the less he's actually hearing? If your arguments seem to get worse, the harder you try to get your point across, you may be making a few mistakes that unintentionally push him further away. In this video, I'll walk you through exactly what those mistakes are, why they backfire, and what you can do instead to break this pattern and finally feel heard. The reason over-explaining creates so many problems is because most women think they're just trying to communicate, whereas what's actually happening underneath for them is that they're trying to stop feeling hurt, disconnected, or misunderstood. And when these feelings get activated for them, it's very easy to unintentionally communicate in ways that make your husband pull away even more. I see 3 key mistakes happen over and over again. So here's mistake number 1. The first mistake is trying to talk through the problem when you're already emotionally overwhelmed. Think about what usually happens. You bring something up, maybe you tell him you're upset, maybe you're looking for reassurance, maybe you're trying to feel closer to him, and instead of feeling understood by him, you feel dismissed. The moment that happens, your anxiety starts to rise, even if you may not realize it. You feel hurt, you feel disconnected, you feel alone. These are all very painful, hard feelings for our body and nervous system to feel. As a result, your first instinct is to keep talking and keep sharing what you're going through to hopefully make him understand you. So here's an example. I work with a couple where the wife often felt alone and unsupported by her husband. When these feelings would get triggered for her, she would immediately start sharing her feelings, like trying really hard to explain why she feels alone, why she's hurt. And she would tell him things like, you're always on your iPad. You always have time to spend with your friends. The only person you don't have time for is me. Or saying something like, I guess everything else is more important than me. Sometimes I would see her raise her voice at him, roll her eyes. And the more she didn't feel like he's understanding, the more she would get frustrated as the conversation went on. Now, from her perspective, she's doing all the right things. She's communicating with him. She's opening up to him. She's just trying to get some understanding from him. But what she didn't realize is that she's not speaking from a calm space anymore. She was speaking from a place of fear, frustration, even though in the moment she didn't realize how her body language is showing or how her vocal quality is more high-pitched and increasing in volume. She did not realize any of that. And she also spoke from a fear of being unimportant to him, fear of being alone, and even fear of losing the connection. And when we're overwhelmed, our nervous system starts running the conversation. The more upset she became, the harder she pushed. The harder she pushed, the more he shut down. The more he shut down, the more alone she felt. And there you have it, they're in a cycle. But in actuality, what she wanted him to hear is that I miss you. But instead, what he heard was, you're failing as my partner. So if you find yourself repeating yourself to your partner, getting louder, talking faster, or desperately trying to get him to understand, don't ask yourself, how can I explain myself better? Instead, ask yourself this. Do I feel regulated and calm enough right now to have a proper conversation with him? Because when you're flooded, that's not the time to have a conversation. That's actually the time you need to self-regulate and calm your nervous system. Now, if you're listening to this and thinking, this is exactly what's happening to me. I get overwhelmed, I start explaining myself, and somehow we end up having the same argument again, then you absolutely need to take my Conflict to Reconnection mini-course. Because if you don't learn how to interrupt this pattern, you're going to keep having the same argument over and over again. You'll keep feeling misunderstood, he'll keep shutting down, and over time you'll start to feel more disconnected, resentful, and alone in your relationship. But you can absolutely change this cycle. After completing the course, you'll be able to stop getting pulled into the same exhausting arguments, calm yourself when conflict starts to escalate, and express yourself in a way that helps your partner hear you instead of becoming more defensive or shutting down. You can take the course at parisacounseling.com/forward-relationship course or take it from the link right in the description below the video. Now let's look at the second mistake. The second one is explaining more when he's already overwhelmed. Most women assume that if their husband doesn't understand them, they simply haven't explained it well enough. So they explain it again. Then they explain it differently. Then they bring up something similar that happened last week. Then something from the last month. And before they know it, they're giving a 20-minute presentation trying to prove their point. Of course, their intention makes sense. You want him to understand. But what often happens next is the exact opposite. If your husband is already overwhelmed by the conflict, every additional example can feel like more pressure to him. Imagine hearing, remember what happened last night? Remember what happened last week? And what about that time at your parents' house? And there was that thing that happened a month ago. You did that again. You're bringing up evidence and past instances while he sees a growing list of things he's done to disappoint you. That's just it. That's what's happening there. And then he's going to say something because he feels like attack or, just something is happening for him emotionally, and of course you feel dismissed. So the more examples you give him in that moment, the more likely he is to become either defensive or shut down. Now, this is not because he doesn't care, because if he didn't care, he wouldn't be fighting with you. This is because he's just overwhelmed. So instead of adding more information, focus on one issue, one example, one feeling, because more words don't create more understanding. Sometimes they create more distance. Now, mistake number 3, and that is you let your hurt come out as criticism. This is the main culprit in most of your arguments. Instead of saying, I feel lonely, we say, you never spend time with me. Instead of saying, I miss feeling close to you, we say, you care about everything else other than me. Instead of saying, I don't feel heard, we say, you never listen to me. Can you hear the difference? In one, you're actually pulling him closer and inviting more connection by showing vulnerability. But in the other one, you're basically just creating defensiveness in him. Let's go back to the client I mentioned earlier. Underneath what she was communicating, there was one simple feeling. I feel alone. But that feeling never got communicated directly. Instead, it came out as criticism. It came out as frustration or accusations. And because of that, her husband focused on defending himself instead of understanding her. One phrase I want you to remember is this: don't make your husband the enemy. Make the cycle the enemy. Because both of you are not fighting each other. You're both reacting to a pattern you may not fully understand yet. But here's the thing, even if you become the perfect communicator, if you don't understand what's happening on his side, you can unintentionally do things that push him further away, making you feel even more hurt and keeping you stuck in the same argument. If you want to understand why he shuts down during arguments with you and what you need to know to break this cycle for good, watch the video on your screen right now.